It's quiet. Too quiet. Oh, there we go. Wait, no. The intro music's different. AJ, what did you do?
Welcome to Lost Analysis. Hey there, I'm AJ, and welcome back. As you can probably tell by the title today, we're going to be briefly talking about Welcome to NightVale. Welcome to NightVale is a supernatural podcast narrated in the format of a radio show. It started back in 2012, releasing episodes bi-monthly, and it's still going at the time of writing this. With around 210 episodes currently up on Spotify and YouTube and the other podcast apps, Welcome to NightVale has achieved great success, amassing a large following and releasing merch and books tied to the original podcast, and even going on tours that are also tied back to the Welcome to NightVale universe. There's no denying that it is quite the cultural phenomenon. It's been around since the Tumblr days and has managed to continue growing and thriving thanks to all the support from its fanbase and the creativity behind the minds working on developing the podcast, never letting their writing get stale or too repetitive. I first discovered Welcome to NightVale back in 2020 and proceeded to binge the entire show during the coronavirus pandemic. Around 200 episodes of content at that time. And I was immediately mesmerized by this fictional world, somewhere out there, in a little desert town where really weird things happened, and we got a radio show out of that. The writing is so peculiar and distinct from the moment the podcast begins. This I say in a positive way. In my opinion, one of NightVale's greatest strengths, and what sets it apart, is its writing. The way exposition is given and the way every single word has a purpose of leaving you intrigued and uneasy is something I find extremely cool. They do a very good job at giving the podcast a mostly comedic and lighthearted tone, to contrast the actual unnerving content of the show and the implications left by the plot. It has its emotional beats, and there are certainly moments where the comedy takes a backseat in favor of the more horror-based elements in the show as well as the plot, but it never gets truly uncomfortable. I can be a little squeamish sometimes, so actual horror doesn't really cut it for me. I don't mind feeling uneasy, as long as it's accompanied by some other emotion to offset it. And that's why Welcome to NightVale's particular brand of comedy mixed with horror works so well for me. It's not overwhelming, it's fun, creepy at times, but it's a pleasurable experience for the listener. NightVale's writing also at times can be immersive, and that's part of what keeps it so entertaining. It keeps us as the listeners on our toes, even as we're just chilling on the couch or something like that. Cecil Palmer, voiced by Cecil Baldwin, our narrator, has a very distinctive voice. His mannerisms and inflections are captivating and unique, which is good considering he is there guiding us through the whole podcast. It's his voice that informs us of the things happening in this town. It is by his words that we're able to picture things. And were he not as good at it, a lot of the material would probably not have the same impact. The plot, while at times convoluted, is always interesting. Most episodes can stand by themselves, but there's also a time progression every one of them marks, and I believe that's commendable. The fact that they're able to write episodes that can be listened to without context, but with context, they're even better. As the show goes on, we grow along Cecil and the town. We are invested in the relationships and personalities of the characters. We develop the want to learn and hear more about them. Tamika Flynn, Janice, Carlos, Steve Carlsberg. It's a show about a little supernatural town, yes. But most importantly, it's about the people within the town. It's about every internal loss to catastrophe, and it's about growth. I love Welcome to NightVale because it's clearly a show that people are passionate about creating. It's a podcast made out of metaphorical puzzle pieces that we slowly piece together as more and more content gets released. It has likable characters, amazing sound design, an interesting plot, and strong writing. Very strong writing. It's fun yet unsettling, and I really appreciate that. It's a piece of media that has caught my attention, and a podcast I highly recommend checking out. If any of my thoughts piqued your interest about this podcast, I really do advise you to check it out. I'll put some links in the description so you can go and check all that out. To any fellow fans, here's your proverb for today. Go ahead and share any of your thoughts down below in the comments. Tell me about your favorite character, or tell me which episode is your favorite and why. Or don't, and just go drink some water. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next video. As always, I hope you enjoyed. Please like, comment, and or subscribe if you feel like it, and
adios.